on the Southport riots and the need for self-control on the alternative right. The Southport riots were a series of riots in the summer of 2024 in the United Kingdom as a response for stabbing of a boy by a descendant of African immigrants. And these chimp outs, of course, resulted in no regime change, a bunch of arrests, and a propaganda victory for the left. And it had to do with the fact that the rioters often assaulted Islamic communities, even though the offender was not a Muslim. And this event, the series of events, comes to show the need for self-discipline on the right. You are in a very, very hard strategic position. The left has infiltrated the academia and the media through the long march through the institutions. They will look for any excuse to see you as monsters, to depict you as monsters. They want your race dead. They are often just openly anti-white. They claim to be, colorblind, whatever. No, they hate white people, a lot of these leftoids. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And you have little to no political power or media power except for alternative platforms. And what I want to urge is patience and violence as self-defense. Be patient, work your way into the government, get elected, get a all-encompassing Weltanschauung, complete worldview platform, and get elected into political power. And then you can act policies, but do not chimp out. That only gives their media ammunition against you, and they can show that all white people are evil and we need to bring in more immigrants. The white man has to die, White race is the cancer of history. I think Susan Sontag, some shit like that. They can push it when you chimp out. And the second thing is that you should, of course, limit violence to self-defense. I'm not telling you the same that Falk was telling the alt-right before Charlottesville, and Mr. Heimbach before Charlottesville, that you should not be cocks. You should not let yourself be beaten up. If someone assaults you, finish the job, win the combat, kick their ass. Sure, use self-defense, use appropriate self-defense, but do not, under any circumstances, commit assault against people. Do not commit aggression against individuals due to their race or immigrant status. Again, this is not what the movement is about. The movement is about gaining, as all political movements are, gaining political power and then enacting policies. If you are in power, then the laws will bend to you because you make the laws. Like, for example, when the leftist supporters came to power, 1975, the United States. Then they cut aid to South Vietnam and, Southeast Asian anti-Bolsheviks, and the Bolsheviks won. And, there was a little organization there known as the Weather Underground that committed open acts of terror, and some of their members openly called for white genocide. And some of these people from the Weather Underground, the communist terror organization, they're now professors in the United States academia. Why? Because their members infiltrated academia and media. They had the long march through the institutions. They started it in the United States after 1933 when Hitler came to power and kicked them out or wanted to put them in camps. They fled to the United States, and so they started infiltrating the United States academia with their critical theory and the long march through the institutions. And, that period was very long. The major leftist chimp outs in the United States, the new left chimp outs, started in the 1960s, especially, 60, 68, 64, a little bit 68. So we see from 1933 to 1968, 69, we have more than 30 years. We have 35 years. And what it comes to show is that, yes, the leftist crowd, a lot of them on the ground, they're very dumb chimps. They don't know the statistics of the police murdering blacks. They think it's like 10,000 per year in the United States. Mr. Mentiswave made a video on that. But the leadership class, yes, they're misguided. They believe in very idiotic and retarded dogmas. but they know strategy. They know how to infiltrate patiently, and that is why they won in society. And you need to learn from that strategy. You need to emulate that strategy. You cannot simply win as a political movement when you just chimp out. Chimping out works only if the media is on your side. The 2020 BLM riots, for example. You know the journalists that were standing in front of the riots. It's a mostly peaceful protest. That is the power of infiltration, and you need to infiltrate and win power in academia and in the political assemblies first before you can get that sort of leniency. But the worst type of formula is that you have no power, no infiltration in media, no your guys in media, and then you chimp out. You're just going to be the stereotypical villain. You're gonna be the new Voldemort, the new Hitler, and your movement is going to be banned and crushed because you played the villain. You played into the leftist hands. You LARPed as their evil clown.